When Brenda harvested the fennel, it looked basically like this. She'd simply cut the root away from the bulb and brought it inside. Now to store it, you want to separate the bulb from the leaves, because during storage the leaves will continue to draw nutrients from the bulb and you'll get a lower quality bulb, and the leaves will also get a little bit flabby and less luxurious as well. So separate the two, store them in plastic bags. Now to do the separation, you want to leave a little bit of the stem above the bulb. That will give you a little bit better quality later on, even though later on you're going to want to cut that off. Now this will continue to be useful when you remove it. You can throw it in stews or broths or things like that. But in order to get a good quality product for what we're going to do today, we're going to separate the two. Now when you cut them, you want to cut it vertically in half. And when you do that, you'll see inside that there's a dense core. Now, if you're going to continue slicing vertically, because you want sliced fennel, you want to keep that core in place because it'll hold the whole thing together. If you're going to have it or quarter it, you'll want to take that out so that you don't have to worry about it. Now, as I said, we want to remove those stems, and then you can go ahead and slice it any way you want, quarter it, depends on what you're going to do with it. Fennel is very good raw, can be used just like celery. It does have a stronger flavor when it's raw than it does when it's cooked. So if it's something new and you're not sure folks will appreciate it, you may want to serve it to them the first time braised or sautéed. What we're going to do with it today is make a fennel ratatouille. And I have a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. And to that, I'm going to add 1 red onion that's been cut up. Now normally I'd let that saute a little bit until the onion started to turn a little bit translucent, but in the interest of time today, I'm going to go ahead and add the fennel. Now this fennel has been sliced fairly thinly, but I've left as much of the center bulb or core as possible. I kind of like it to stay together a little bit. If it falls apart, that'll be fine too. Now, in addition to the fennel, which has a licorice type of flavor, I'm going to add 2 ripe tomatoes that we've chopped up. 1 cup of broccoli florets and a red pepper. Now if you only have green, that's fine, or yellow or orange. Any one of them will do. Now this then would cook for about 5 minutes. Now as I said, the fennel can be cooked in a variety of ways, including being served raw. And you can use all the different parts. The fronds or the leaves, actually once they're washed, they're very, very soft, as they are when they're when they're still out in the garden. And you can use these just as you would use dill as an herb, or you can use it as a garnish later on. So you have a lot of possibilities for that. The stems can go in stews or soups, and the bulb can go into things like this, or be eaten raw or braised or grilled. It has innumerable ways of cooking it. Now normally we would let this cook for about 5 minutes, but because we don't always have as much time as we'd like when we're doing the program, I'm going to go ahead and add the next ingredient. Now the vegetable oil on this will help keep the color of the broccoli bright green, and also the short cooking time will do that, so you'll get a lot of color contrast when you finish with this. Now also to this, I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of salsa, and this is where a lot of the flavoring will come in as far as your own personal preference. Either they're very hot so that you need the fire department with you, or the extra mild with no heat at all in there. Now once this is cooked down, you can either serve it raw, or serve it hot or cold. If you're going to serve it either way, one of the things that I think is always nice is to scoop it into a colorful bowl, and then you can either let people scoop it up with different kinds of chips, or because fennel is often found in the Mediterranean area, the French are very fond of it, as well as the Italians, serve it with some crusty French bread. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.